Man, I've seen some people.
Yeah, and you see some people, and it's just like, all right, well, they're like not mostly a harm to everybody else or themselves, but like a lot of it's luck. Anyways, welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez, and joining you on a green chair in front of a house I'm about to move out of. Joining me tonight, like the Edmund Fitzgerald, his semen were also frozen in a lake. It's Robert
And came
Wyatt.
early.
Close the hatches, close the vents. That's all you had to do. I forgot what they
That's
were.
that's what I, that's what I thought, but that didn't happen, and now I have two kids.
I put the close the hatch. Don't use the hatch. I was watching some videos this week
Hogport.
on the Esmond Fitzgerald, and where they had some like air vents, and I forgot what mineral they were hauling, but it was like the minerals weighed so much that they had so much extra space in the cargo holds because the density of the material. I forget what mineral, but anyway, it filled up, and then the front of the boat
Iron
sank.
ore.
What was it?
I'm playing the song in my head, like, and a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons
I
more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. Yeah.
Yeah, like something like Gordon. I do not like that song. I do not know why people like that song. I find it.
I will leave your ass on the side of the road and drive off like the Instagram meme while listening to that song. You know what? All fair. You cannot like that song, and I totally get it. But you have to acknowledge that were it not for that song, Gordon Lightfoot lighting that song, that shipwreck largely would have been lost to history. Nobody
Yeah,
would remember it, you know.
yeah.
And it's kind of weird that song like just struck such a place in everybody's kind of just like hearts that 50 years later people are still talking about it. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool in a way.
The song without a hook.
Kind
You
of
know
like
what?
the intro to this show, Phoenix.
What we need is Kanye to do a song about that boat that ran into that bridge in Pennsylvania and knocked it down. And that way that can be remembered for another 50 years.
Oh, there you. Yeah, that totally would be a good idea, right?
Yeah, like I airplanes, like riding in an airplane, that would be kind of like, airplane goes down or whatever. A boat sinking, like when you're on a cargo ship like that, and then all of a sudden you're in the back of the cargo ship, and it's like, man, the front half of the boat just sank, and it's about to snap in half, and then we're gonna sink and freeze. Like, that's pretty scary. Other things, submarines, super scary because like not there's not
Not
a
really
lot of
down with that whole crushing pressure.
crushing pressure. Maybe
Having
sur-
said that, if it's a bunch of billionaire or millionaires and billionaires that are going down in a submarine and then it crushes them,
yeah.
I'm I'm not going to feel bad about that, even though I should.
Well, like
Same with the United Healthcare CEO. I am obligated to say that was a bad thing.
that was a bad thing. All the guy's doing is just trying to make some money, just making money for people. The one thing too, the like. Here's the thing: we kind of talked about this on the Patreon side. There's like the dumbing down of America, like when Luigi Mangione shot that guy, and then you're just like, all right, well, let's see how this guy works. And then like his reasons for shooting the guy were like as three or four sentences deep, and then like he couldn't like come up with like anything else. It's like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
great. All right, everyone, if you're worried about being ripped off by your health insurance, you can switch. And also, maybe the government shouldn't be involved in health insurance, and then
Shocker of all
giving
shockers.
them subsidies. You
Hey,
remember?
it's going to lower your rates. No, it's going to increase the rates, and then we're going to subsidize it until like we say we're not going to subsidize it, and then everybody's like, why is our insurance going up? Because anything the government gets involved in goes up in price.
Yeah,
That's how that works.
yeah, they raise the prices of it, and then we give a subsidy to the insurance companies, and then they say that it's lowered because they got the subsidy when everything's just there's it's just messed up. It's just dumb. Just remember how when government got into TVs and then TVs became super expensive and then hard to find. Oh wait, that never happened at all, and that's why you can go to Costco and get a 75-inch TV for $1,200.
And you remember when government had the opportunity to stay out of the education market in college, and then college became a reasonable price and actually started offering career fields that people could actually get a job with and be Well employed. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Awkward, awkward.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, ATF deemed
and
essential. Suppressors moving,
yes,
and then
exactly.
everyone's back.
That's all that matters. That actually is really interesting. I mean, in that whole government shutdown, I heard about that, how the ATF had initially kind of they shut down and they weren't going to process all that stuff. And then eventually somebody's like, no, because you guys not doing that effectively becomes an infringement on the Second Amendment. And it it's that thing right there that kind of speaks to me in a way to say that they all say like any like all gun laws are an infringement. This situation was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like, yeah, that
yeah.
actually is. I mean, that's you are literally becoming the roadblock in me exercising my rights as an American citizen because of your processes.
Well, that was like the background check thing. Like, if you could not get a background check in an effective amount of time or instantaneously, then that would have been an infringement on your right to sit there and buy a firearm and then not have your Second Amendment right infringed. Like, I was delivering to dead air, and they're just collecting suppressors. Like, one of their boxes is like 53 pounds or whatever, depending on the suppressor. Like, they used to
Hmm.
get a bunch of those like Wolverines, those 7.62 cans, and like their box that's full of probably like 20 of those cans, 63, 64 pounds, and then something that's like newer, um, Lazarus or something like that's like a 44-pound box for the same amount of suppressors. And so, like, yeah, weight does matter, but you're seeing them just being like completely backed up, and then just be like waiting for, like, they're backed up for like two main reasons. One, everyone's waiting for no stamp tax, and so everyone's doing these pre-sale things where they're holding on to suppressors, so they have to hold on to inventory, and then they have the government shutdown and they were holding on to inventory, so you're looking at a shop that is just constantly every day getting pallets and pallets of suppressors from another one of their facilities going to their facility for final checks, quality control, all that other
Oh yeah,
jazz. and
right.
then and then you're sitting there dealing with, like, now they got to hold it and now they got to get rid of it, and then trying to sit there and turn it all out and go back out. Like, it's freaking, it's nuts. It's nuts to see that much volume and that much stuff being held on for one reason or another. So
It's just the crazy thing because I mean, it just demonstrates the stupidity of what most gun laws are. I mean, the suppressor thing is probably up there among the dumber, especially when you really dig into the history of suppressors, short barrel rifles,
yeah,
things like that. And you're just like, you guys were just backdoor trying to create gun registration. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly what that is. It's not about safety. It's never been about safety,
It's never
ever.
been. It's never been. And the other thing too is, like, once you've been around suppressors, like, it makes every part of the shooting experience except for sound worse.
Yeah, absolutely, it
It,
does.
it just like it's kind of like when you sit there and you get a suppressor and you start messing around with it. It's like, oh, when I put it on, like, my gun's shooting to a completely different point of impact, and then it's just like, well, how do I adjust this? And then science, and then it doesn't track well, and then it gets hot, and then they back out.
Blowing gas and
It's blowing gas.
crap
Like,
and
it's
particulate, whatever that junk is, it's blowing it all into your face.
it's heavy
It's
on the
terrible.
yeah, and then on the rifle, it's even more terrible. But it's yeah, it's just backdoor gun control. Speaking of some sort of weird kind of semi quasi maybe weird kind of thing to prevent further gun control, the Glock V. You start seeing those things being shipped out, and then people opening them up and then looking at them, and then all the panickers. Can we get you guys to be hopping on the Reddit again and then giving, what, guys, I was actually kind of wrong. Like, oh, like, the firing pin channel is a little bit thinner, the foot's thinner, and they raised a piece of plastic in the back.
Yeah.
Congratulations, freakouts. Congratulations. What a terrible change that's happened. You're no longer gonna buy Glocks or support anybody because they caved in and gave in. Like, oh my hell.
Well, and that was George Tekmachov was talking about that. It's, like this is the Great Dutch Tulip Panic all over again, where everybody was just going nuts and trying and spending gobbles of money on these Glocks. And to be fair, when I first saw the thing of like, oh, Glock's going to discontinue all their line, I'm like, well, maybe I want one of these guns.
Yeah,
And I thought about it for a little bit, and I'm just like, but you don't shoot the ones you have.
correct.
And
And
then
the,
I just kind of was like, fine, whatever, I don't care.
I understand, like, every gun I purchase from now on, for the most part, like unless it's specifically bought for like USPSA or something, like I will never shoot this thing out, and I'm getting it because I want it. Like I've debated getting a Walther P99. Like they discontinued them in 2023. You still see these final editions out. Like I watch Casino Royale, and I'm like, you know what? I need a P99. That would be
Right.
just kind of a sweet gun to kind of have. But I understand I'm not going to sit there and shoot it. The one thing about the Glock panic over the Glock V is like people went out there and started spree buying this stuff and also bad mouthing Glock before they understand what parts weren't compatible. Like people were
Yeah.
talking about completely different trigger bars and return springs and all this other stuff. And then it turned out like basically they designed a Glock that would not take a switch could not fit in there.
An
Like the
existing switch wouldn't fit in
correct, an
there.
existing switch would not fit in there.
Timu, Timu.
Yeah.
I've never rooted for some Chinese company like I have now.
Well,
Somebody make a Glock V version of this Switch.
the funny thing is like now that like if you want the fastest way to get the latest generation of whatever pistol you want is make a switch for it and then throw that switch design out on the internet. You want a Smith and Wesson M&P Generation 3, like that's the plan. You make a M&P switch, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to shift their way around, and then you're
Yes.
going to get a Gen 3. And so it's just kind of weird to see like the self-righteous panic buying and like, well, what's different? And the people like, well, this is going to be different and this is going to be different, and they're no longer like I was hearing dumb stuff like they're not going to support Gen 5 anymore. They're not going to support Gen. They're like, bitch, what the hell are you talking about? They got so many government contracts for that stuff. They're going to stop giving the FBI trigger bars. What are you talking about? Like, what crack are
Right.
you smoking? And just then they
Well,
all
that's
went
just,
off.
and that's the hard thing, right? I mean, the absence of true information, the bad information, it goes all the way around the world,
Yeah, but
and it just goes nuts. But and you it's I mean, dude, you and I both lived through the propaganda campaign that was COVID, right?
yeah,
And in the very early days of that, everybody was running out there and they're buying toilet paper. And it's like, why are we buying toilet paper? I don't know, but my neighbors are buying it, so it must be a thing. We got to get it. So I get it, but it's still dumb.
well, it's just the scared thing. It's just another macro like a micro thing of like the scared thing. The other part is too. It's just like people not looking at how they actually use their firearms or whatever. Like it's like okay, if they made a Shadow 3 and most of it wasn't parts compatible, you would just buy the Shadow 3 when you were ready to have it, and then it'd just be
Hmm.
like, well, it's not parts compatible. It's just like yeah, Gen 4 wasn't really parts compatible with the Gen 5. What did you do then? Have you ever bought a different gun that's not parts compatible with any of your other guns? Absolutely you have. But this turned into the panic of panics, and then what did we find out? It's got like two or three little changes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the same.
It's- but
But
people are going to people,
scared people are going to scared people.
which is why I feel like I'm safer on the side of the attacker than the guy in my church who is trying to help me.
He's been hunting his entire life.
Exactly.
Anyway, what have you been up to?
Oh man, it's been a fun week. We had the new shooter match, we had a regular match. I loaded a whole bunch of bullets up, but the new shooter match was fun, and we filled it up like we always do, and we had a mix of some experienced folks and a handful of new people, and they had a great time. We had a really weird one. We had one of the shooters. It's his he's new. He's new, and he's still very squirrely Dan. And it's really interesting because I've done this match actually in 26. So we started the match in 2015, but it became USPSA in 2016. And so I have done this USPSA match for basically coming up on 10 years. And in all of that time when we've done these new shooter things, it's been really strange to me because every 1.5, 2 years or so, you'll have somebody that will come in and they will just be weird.
Yeah.
Like the lights are on, but
Not
nobody's going home, kind
Yeah,
of.
and not you kind of have these people where like that are weird or uncomfortable, but like on as far as like shooting, it's like most people's personal lives, you kind of get into them and you're just like, you know what, like thanks
Maybe
for
this
shooting
isn't
them.
for you.
This is it for you, or like maybe
Yeah.
just don't talk to me until you say it's my turn to be on the stage, and like you've had those kind of things,
Yeah.
and then like,
And I mean,
but there's people like when they play the game, like they might not be unsafe or like completely unfair of this, like not a good sportsman or whatever like that, but they're like Tony Hawk. They're like grinding. They like jump
yeah.
on the safety line or like the sportsmanship line, or like they just hop on it and they just rail ride the shit out of it forever, and then
Hmm.
you're just like, he's gonna fall. What side is he gonna fall off on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. We have a guy right there. It's his third match. He's actually been the second match he came. I actually DQ'd him. He drew the gun. It wasn't loaded or anything like, but he drew the gun and turned around uprange. And so he's already on that. We kind of don't trust him
Yeah.
spectrum. But like I said, I've had so many people come through there, and I've seen people that have been that kind of thing, and a lot of them self-select. I actually asked Nate about this, but I mean, um, and he's like, people tend to self-select their way out of the game that
Yeah.
that are like that anyway. But I've also seen people who have, they've been really squirrely at the time, but then they pull it all together. Felipe is a perfect
Yeah. No, I
example
was
of
about
that,
to bring
right?
up Felipe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was super squirrely. I mean, he would do stuff that you'd be like, somebody's going to go home and die.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember having a lot of conversations with Steve and other people at the match. Like, do we just need to uninvite this guy? I mean, he's really kind of scary. But I mean, you kind of work with him and you keep guiding him,
Yeah.
and eventually they come around.
Become coachable. They become a great RO. They become a certified RO, and they're like a net benefit for the entire
Yeah,
organization.
but you have to go through that time period of like people are like, this guy scares the crap out of me, and he does. I mean, and so like I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna RO this guy, and I'm like, and I'll be right on top of him, and I'll coach him through things. There's gonna come a point where what is it? He's gonna have to make that decision of,
Yeah.
am I going to convert over to this thing or just stop coming? And I don't know if that's going to be him. You always hope it is. I mean, I mean,
Well,
that's the one thing about the
you
indoor
can
match
kind of
that is good.
you can kind of tell about these people right off the jump, and the jump is coachable. Like being coachable is one of those things. Is like if you tell somebody and they give you a correction and they take the correction, they're like, absolutely, yeah, I can see how that is. What else can I do? Okay, cool. I'll try to do that. And then like you see them incrementally try to put that knowledge or whatever to use, especially when they realize like they've just entered in a domain of which they're not experienced. Coachability is fantastic. Like
Yeah.
you
No,
can
for sure.
you can see that the other part is too, when you can't, when you know it's going to be wrong, is when you get a little bit of like self victimization, or I've done this before. And when you get
Yeah.
self victimization or have I done this before, I was listening to Joe Rogan this week, and my favorite, podcast or whatever all time, Adam Carolla. He brings up a point is,
Oh, I saw they were doing one, and I was like, I gotta go watch this.
yeah, and like I've been listening to Adam Carolla for like 15 years or whatever, and so like the one thing that he said, and he said in other places, is self victimization is the opposite of character. It's the
Yeah.
exact opposite. And so when you see people go down the lines of self victimization, or the other part is the self aggrandizement of obviously something that they know nothing about, because that's why you're having this conversation, those are your immediate cues of whether or not somebody is going to go the right path. It's just like when people have bad relationships or divorces or whatever like that, and then you talk to like one or the other, like they're like, there is no accountability about X, Y, or Z ever, anytime, no matter what. And then that will
Right.
kind of give you the cue of like, this person is incapable of fixing their problems because this person will never realize that they're the problem.
Right. No, and I think that's the way it is with it with this particular one is that this is this is now his last his last chance, and I'm hoping that it'll calm itself down, because if it doesn't, it just becomes a problem. It's a problem for everybody involved, and you just can't have that, because at the end of the day we are playing a dangerous game with, you know and we everybody wants to go home, and
Yeah.
if somebody's unwilling to take correction, or like you said, I mean, if they put it off on somebody else. I mean, the big part of it also is, like, how you handle correction. I mean, like, if um because I've seen all manner of things. I mean, if you talk to people and you kind of work them through, and that's the hard thing with a lot of new shooters, honestly, is some of them, they take that correction they take it really well, you know,
Yeah.
and others, they'll take that correction, but only after you get them to, like, drop those, like, those walls, like the defensive walls,
Yeah.
where and they actually understand, like, hey, I'm actually on your side here. I have the best intent for you. And I've seen both of those too. This situation was just weird. And I don't know. It's a it's a strange one, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what you
And
do.
so, yeah, but
What's going on with bullets? I've heard.
yeah, so I got all those gallant bullets, and they're all in different buckets, and we got them out of a storage shed. And so it's just like, here, take all these bullets. And so I brought them in, and I loaded up a whole bunch of them, and I shot them over the course of two matches, and they're fine. They were the 125s, and they've been just fine. But Saturday, I took them to the match. I loaded them up again, and there's a couple things that I've noticed. The one downside of what this bucket that I have is there's 115s mixed into it, and
Yeah.
so I've had to basically set up a little scale station where I'm putting it on, putting, and just
Yeah.
segmenting them or something like that. Um, but I've been doing that. Then this Saturday, so I went and I shot, and, like, oh man, the first two or three stages were just fine. We shot 8 stages Saturday, but the first couple stages were fine, not an issue in the world, and I hadn't had any problems with them in the past. But it was like the fourth stage. I had a target, and they're like, oh, that's a double, and it's like, it kind of looks off. Like, okay, we'll score it as a double.
Yeah.
We go to the next stage, and then I shot that stage, and I center punched a popper. I know I center punched that popper because you could see actually where I hit it. It didn't go down, and then I shot at it again, and it hit low, and it still didn't go down. And our poppers go down,
Yeah. Ford Farley
but
poppers, like
yeah, they're
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 they're a,
pretty legit.
they're a godsend to poor marksmanship.
And so it's like, okay, well, that was super weird. But there was a target that I shot. You're running along the uprange fault line, and there was a wall to the right, and just right around that was a double stack target. And so I come around that thing, and I shot that, and then I finished the stage and everything like that. But then they're like, "Hey, these bullets are tumbling. You can see
Yeah.
where they're tumbling at 5 feet away."
Yeah.
And I mean, they were tumbling. They, like, no doubt about it. They sure were. And I'm just looking at it, and I went over to the safe area, and, guns unloaded and everything like that. And I looked down the barrel, and the leading on that thing was so bad. I
Yeah.
mean, at the muzzle end of it, it was like a smooth bore.
Yeah, you get that, and then you get like a little bit hanging over the crown. Like you get
Uh-huh.
like this,
Yeah, the
like
crown was it was like this little gook or whatever and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, I had some, and normally why this happens is like a lot of the bullets are soft. They are softer than they should be. There's not enough hardener in the coats of this,
Oh.
and I remember like I had some of these that also I had problems with that were like 115s that didn't have enough hardener. But I remember way back in the day. This is probably 2012, 2013. Got some of these Bumblebee bullets. There was a guy who used to make these
Bumblebees.
Bumblebee bullets,
Dude, yeah.
and I loaded them with unique, and I remember going out there and shooting a match, and I could not hit anything, and it just caused a complete spin out. Like I was just like, I can't hit anything. And then I went there, and I next week I went out there, took my Glock 17, my Gen 3 Glock 19, Gen 3 17, and I went there and I shot, and I was sitting there shooting, and then I took out my Beretta, and my Beretta was like a little bit better, but the groups were 12 or 13 inches at like 7, 8, 9, 10 yards, like
Oh wow.
gigantic groups, everything but the center. And when pistol bullets tumble, they freaking tumble. And the one thing that I notice is like you have um, lead or a softer bullet is very, very velocity sensitive. Like once, because I was always trying to like, I don't have a chronograph. I want to make sure that I'm knocking down steel and that I'm going to make power factor no matter what. And so I would like, what's the top end of the book? That's what I'll load it at the top end of that. And that's what was causing these huge problems. And then later on, when I had some soft 115s, I would look at the crown of my Beretta Brig Tac shooting production, and then I would see like coat, like some lead coating in there. And then like, so then I went down the path of like, oh, I got to get a swager, and I got to, not swager, what would you call it? Um, I guess it would be if you have what's the
Yeah, that's
not
a
the
swager.
swager, not the cleaning rod, but you have the swager. And so I got like a Brownell's like scrub kit
Oh,
for
like a bore jag
yeah,
thing,
like a jag.
like
Yeah,
that
jag.
thing that Steve told us to get
Yeah.
with the little brass disky things that
Yeah.
would clean it all
You
out.
get a jag, you go to Walmart, you get a bunch of like copper wool chore boys or
Mm-hmm.
whatever for like scrubbing dishes, and then you push the jag through, and like you're just pushing out lead. And then I found out another way of cleaning the gun, and that's called full metal jacket. You just shoot full metal jacket through it, and it'll scrub
Yeah.
that stuff out. But like yeah, it is it is infinitely frustrating to have a bunch of bullets that are either too soft or ammunition that you loaded that's too velocity sensitive. Because the one thing is when you get to those 115s, it's like if I
115s
if I go
encoded are
if
tough.
you go too low, no power factor, and then there's like a 50-foot, 75-foot, 100-foot range, feet per second range of like makes power factor, performs well, and then too much, and then you're going to start having the bullet come apart, and then above that tumbling. Like Robert shoots a sometimes 150, high 140s power factor sometimes or low 140s, but like you're starting to get to the territory where like a 115 bullet like that, if it's not sufficiently hard, it can
Yeah.
be trouble. And like because of like great companies with pulled or bullets or whatever, um, bullets have remained consistently pretty cheap, and full metal jacket or even plated bullets have been pretty easy to come by. But if
Yeah,
you
I
get a
know.
bunch of free bullets,
It's hard. It's hard not to take them, right? And so
yeah,
you're. I mean, they're sitting there. So I'm gonna keep playing with it. But I mean, yeah, if they don't work, they don't work.
yeah,
That's all. That's all there is to it. But I mean, the plus side. I mean, I've still got so many coated bullets from days gone by. But at the same time, I'm I'm really digging Full Metal Jacket. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's companies like the company where we're getting stuff from, where it's just dirt cheap. You can't beat it. They're like, oh, they're pulled, and it's like you look at some of these things, they don't look pulled.
yeah,
I mean, they're very it's a very clean, and for the distances and the requirements that we shoot them, yeah, I'll take a pulled 124 grain Full Metal Jacket every day of the week because it's
yeah,
like it's gonna work really freaking well.
yeah,
And that's
and
why the vast majority of all my pistol bullets today are Full Metal Jacket or plated.
yeah. I mean, it just works, and they bite to the rifling of a lot of guns, and the guns
Hmm.
are so accurate, and if you have a decent quality bullet in it, like it's just gonna run. Now, what makes you think it could like how shot out is the CZ Shadow 2 that you shot
This
them
one's
out of?
brand new,
This is a
brand new.
brand new Shadow 2. So like
Yeah.
you can
So
have
it definitely can be.
well, like
I mean, it
let's
could be,
I
but
mean like the two things that are always going to be the hardest thing with troubleshooting is like very old and brand new.
okay. Well, that's a good question. So, I've actually shot I've shot other rounds through it, 124s, 140, 147s, 115s, all out of that particular gun because that's when I took the church group out and was letting them. So I was shooting a whole bunch of stuff out of it. Same consistent act, different impact point, right? Because they're different
Yeah.
grain weights, but still very very accurate. These are all FMJs, and the initial 124s that I shot, they were same accuracy, really, really good accuracy. It was only over the course of this 8 stage match where I really started. And to be fair, um, when I started shooting the coda bullets in my mind, I was like, I'm going to shoot these things and not clean out this barrel for a long. I'm not going to clean the barrel out because I want to see what happens. I want to see how long I've actually got.
Yeah.
And so it could just be that it was just build up, build up, build up until it gets to, 600, 700 rounds. I was up at that. Yeah, it's about 700 rounds. Um, that before I finally started noticing it.
Yeah.
And so, um, I'm inclined to think that's probably the bullet related, but I'm actually gonna go back. I'm gonna load some more up, shoot it again, and just see. And the problem is geez, I don't know. I think I've got 12 buckets of bullets. And so maybe this one bucket is just a bad bucket,
Yeah.
which means I got to play the game through every single bucket.
Yeah. And well, and then
But
you just make a bunch of loads that are meant for, you just have a group of bullets. Like when I had those bullets, like the accuracy was fine. So you might run into the same thing where the accuracy is fine till the leading starts degrading the
picks up.
accuracy. And then it was like
Yeah.
literally, you know, when I was going through this bucket of like soft bullets, it would be like I would buy 50 rounds of Winchester white box or something like that, and like the first 4 rounds out of the magazine would be Full Metal
The
Jacket,
scrubbies.
and then you would have the softer ones. So like
I
every time you
thought of that.
reloaded, every time you
Yes.
reloaded, you were constantly kind of cleaning out the barrel for what came after it. And
I actually thought of that on the drive home. I was like, I could just go I could just go and buy or like go and load these all up and then like for the first two or three in every single magazine will all be Full Metal Jacket
yeah,
because that's what I did. Uh I I was like, okay, I'm not going to use these. I went back to the truck. I got my 115s, and then I asked Rory if I could just go down range and just cook off a magazine. He's like, yeah, go nuts. So I did that, and it cleans the barrel out just like it should, you know?
yeah,
And then I'm like, I could, I could do exactly that. I could just put two or three right as number one, and then shoot them all out. That's it's a what do you call it? It's putting the ambulance at the bottom of the hill kind of thing,
yeah.
but it would still work.
Well, and then it's essentially cheaper than like having a bunch of ammunition that needs to be pulled or waste of time.
Yeah,
Like I did that for probably about like 2 or 3 months while I was trying to shoot out all this ammo, and it ended up getting a whole lot better. Like once the ammo was gone and done, and you're just shooting Full Metal Jacket to clean it out all the time. But the one thing I did that for is because I read the Glock book and them shooting lead bullets through polygonal rifling, and then them like blowing up, and then like I didn't want to lose my brig tack. Like it was an expensive pistol. I really liked it a lot. I was shooting it. It was the main workhorse, and so I was just trying to prevent that. But remember, like if there's enough leading in it, like eventually there's going to be a constriction enough to cause an issue. And so like
right.
a Full Metal Jacket cleans that stuff right out.
Yeah.
Are your lead levels going to go up after putting that much lead into the air? Probably. Like,
You know
we'll
what's
see.
funny is I shot this indoors and shooting coated bullets indoors. I come home and I'm like, why does my throat hurt?
Yeah,
I'm like,
you get the
it's all this
nat.
shit up
Yeah,
in the air.
yeah,
Yeah. I have not noticed that with the jacketed bullets. I just haven't noticed it
yeah,
because it obviously it isn't that big of an issue. And so that kind of tells me like, if you're going to shoot indoors, you really should be shooting jacketed bullets because the coated is just not it's just not super ideal for doing that because indoors sucks anyway because you're just getting so much crap in the air, but
yeah. Regardless of
that's
what
just
yeah,
exacerbating it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like the old days of shooting at the freaking range masters with bumblebee bullets and shooting all
Oh,
that
that'd be
stuff, and I'm just like, I probably just took about three solid years off of my life, but just 3 solid years, nothing.
yeah, yeah.
All I got all
At
the
the time,
tail end.
at the
The
time, it's like I mean, I'm okay to get rid of 3 solid years.
Yeah, I'm fine. I got plenty left. I got plenty left to go. Anyways,
But Saturday we had it was so last week was a rough week. There was a stage that Dan did that was just really a rough stage. But we came into this match, and Dan totally redeemed himself. It's a fantastic match, dude. It was awesome. He created this stage where you could start on either side, and there I saw so many high level shooters shooting it different ways, and they were all viable stage plans.
yeah,
And I was like, well, and I made a point of going up and actually telling Dan, I was like, you totally redeemed yourself on this because it was a fantastic stage. Then Ben Banks, he did a stage where you had to, he found a stuffed turkey. I think it was at IKEA. And so you had to pull the turkey out of the toaster oven and then stow it on your body in some way and then proceed to shoot the stage. And before the last shot, the turkey had to end up in this basket. And I mean, it kind of it slowed the stage down and everything. And so there was a bit of a backup. But it was one of those things where it was such a fun thing to do that like nobody cared
yeah,
because it was just stupid fun and we're close to Thanksgiving. And so like, why not?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a fan. And the weather was completely gorgeous. I mean, I didn't even care about having bad ammo and stuff like that because the squad was great. Like Rory and Lance were there, and I really like squatting with those two because they make for a fun day. But yeah, we had like 180 people shot that match.
That's
That's
freaking
a big
nuts.
freaking match,
That's
dude.
nuts. That's
I
nuts.
mean, it's just beyond crazy. And yesterday was a long day. We got done about 2:30. It was about 2:30 when we actually finished.
Yeah,
And so it is what it is, but
that's still
um
nothing to like 4 or 5 the way it used to be.
oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you'd go out. I mean, you remember the farm. I mean, you'd get there at 8 in the morning and you were locking things up at 5 sometimes.
Yep. No. Yeah, that was a lot. Well, awesome. If you would like to hold up leady junky bullets like Robert has, like I have, do it at least with some style. Check out Dominant Defense, American Operator Gear. Use promo code PARA10 to get the best belt in the industry. That's your Mach 1 speed belt, your duty belt if you're a police officer, LEO, or military dude. You need to hold stuff together. Double belt solution, inner belt's the best. And even if you have an outer belt and it's all set up and you love it, you're doing it for the inner belt. Do it. You'll have the best inner belt in the industry. Use promo code PARA10 and save 10% off your order. Dominate Defense and American Operator Gear. Also, check out Rune Tactical. Get a +1 in your gun for more fun, for more leading, and then possibly de-leading, depending on how you stack the magazine. Also, plenty of other spring kits, other stuff that you can check out from them. And then you can check out Kevin Isaac's W74 guide rods, where you can get more weight in your gun and have an amazing time playing around with either tungsten batteries, tungsten guide rods. Spring needs also can be covered, so check him out. Both of those you can use promo code PARA10. Telegram messaging service, Snap, like Signal, better. Like iPhone's messages, better. iPhone's messages isn't really that great. Why do I have to press like the send thing and then scroll up for whatever the hell I want to do? Like if I want to send
What
a
are you
picture,
talking
like
about?
a GIF or whatever like that, or if I want to send a voice message, then I have to go press the little thing and then slide up. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like anything about the iPhone.
You're
But
just a hater.
I just am. Anyway, Telegram, search PARAcast. You'll find the PARAcast chat. You can ask us questions, do all that jazz.
Well, Ron had a question. What are your thoughts on the new Steam machine that Valve announced?
I I I'm
It's
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out with like the Steam machine. They're like Steam machine is bringing out all these like they have like the Switch thing that you're supposed to do, which would just play PC games poorly. and then you have the new Steam machines that's supposed to be like kind of like a console, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a console, and I'm just trying to figure out. It's just like the reason you have a PC like this fine PC I'm playing right here, and doing the show on. It's like I have a PC so I can sit down and I can have all the amazing things and use way more power for my entertainment than I'm supposed to have. Um, would it be nice to play PC games on like a console setting? Yes, but the one thing that I have a problem with those is that when you take a computer experience and kind of try to scale it down to like a console size, you still have to interact with computer type things, like web browsing or with like Steam itself. Like they have the kind of like that controller stuff that you can kind of do. I just don't find like the interface moves very well back over. It's like when
Right.
you have to like type something in with a controller or the remote control of your TV. It's just a pain in the
Oh, that's the
ass.
worst. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hate trying to use a joystick to try and like enter any kind of text and stuff like that in.
I just
I
don't see the point of having a PC and then a PC gaming machine at the same time. I would rather just spend the $2,000 and just have a PC.
That's actually where I'm at. I mean, I was talking about it last week with Kevin, but I've been off the PC game for so long, but I kind of actually want to build another one. And so over this week I was talking to Kevin, and he actually he sent me a parts list of like, these are the things to get. These are what would be really good. And I was like, cool. And it comes out to, what was it, 17, probably 17, $1,800 by the
Yeah,
time you're all done with it. But you'll have a machine that is going to work for a good long time. And for the stuff I do, I'm not like super hardcore gamer. I know I've never been, but it's gonna do everything I want it to do, and it'll scratch that itch of building another computer that I haven't done in 11 billion
the
years.
one thing that when you notice is that when you go from console to a PC,
Hmm.
the one thing that you notice is like I don't need this much. I don't need a whole lot. I've been playing in 60 frames. Like I don't need anything. And then you get to the PC and you start playing stuff at like 120, 140 frames. You got the
Hmm.
ray tracing on, everything looks brilliant. And then it like slows down for a little bit. Or like on my laptop, like it won't be plugged into the wall, and so you'll see a degrade in performance because it can't run that much power off the battery. And you're just like, what kind of shit thing is this? Like, what is this? And then, like, I've literally had experiences like that where, like, I can't even play this game. I can't even play at 55 frames a second. Like, I can't play this. What am I supposed to do? Like, and then literally you go over to your PlayStation and you go on there, and it's just like, that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what, but you just get so spoiled with having all this extra processing speed and power and graphic fidelity. And the other thing with the PC is like you're sitting so damn close to the monitor too, so the experience is like so much better.
more immersive or whatever they call that. But
Yeah,
I I don't know. I mean, the funny thing about it is, I mean, like my favorite game is apparently 10 years old. So, I mean, the processing power isn't going to be that high, but Kevin's like, "No, get this Nvidia chip, get this AMD thing." I'm gonna I don't know. I'm kind of wait until Christmas, maybe around Black Friday, and I'll just start piecing and parting the thing together. But I'm gonna build one, and I think, I mean, like I've gotten, I don't know what it is, but like you have like the Xbox and things like that. Like, well, we're gonna charge you a monthly fee to access all these things, and maybe I'm just getting old and curmudgeonly, but I'm just really getting tired of the subscription model on every frickin' thing,
yeah,
and I just don't like it anymore.
yeah. No, it's one of the frustrating things when you look at everything that used to be free and then like look at like, oh well, now it's this. Like Netflix used to be $10 for everything, and
Yeah,
now like I'm sitting there. We were on Amazon. We were watching Casino Royale,
damn
and then a
good, great
and then,
show.
and then a commercial starts playing, and I'm like, don't I freaking pay for Amazon Prime? Like, why do I have a commercial playing when I'm already paying for Amazon Prime? On
Right.
this Netflix or whatever, if it's $10 a month and there's gonna play me commercials or whatever, it's like, the hell is this? And then PlayStation is like now the tiered thing. And the one thing that bugs me about the tiered service stuff is like stuff that used to be a part of the bottom tier or the one tier is now up in this higher tier. And even like
Mm-hmm.
places like Apple, drop the plus, for their stuff like that because they're just like, well, we're just going to charge you more
Right.
now, and so like we're going to drop the plus on this, so you magically think that it's some sort of a different experience. Like the amount of money that's gone into stuff, while the quality of the service of the entertainment doesn't seem to be requisite with the increase in money. And on a
Oh
PC,
yeah, that's how
you just hop on it, you go play multiplayer. You know,
yeah. Well,
so
that's how I feel like it's like tipping, right? I mean, like tipping used to be 10%. Now it's 20. And it's like, well, did the quality of service go up or did the greed? No, it's just the greed.
yeah,
It's
and
purely the greed.
yeah, and it's kind of the stuff that I have with like. It's one of the things with like the Ace VR thing that I've had an issue with. Like, I would love to get a Quest 3 and do this. Like, this sounds like a really good kind of thing. And like, even though the visual focus thing's a little off, I sit there and I look at it. I'm like, I do not want to pay. I want to buy something and I want to use the product, and I do not want to have to pay a subscription fee after my initial very expensive investment to kind of make this
Hmm.
profitable for a long run for them.
Right.
So yeah,
And yeah, I I've heard both sides of the argument, and honestly, I've fallen more and more into that place of like, dude, well, that's the thing. I've cut off the Disney Plus, I've cut off the Netflix, and it's like I'm now to the point where like I'm just going to go and buy a hard copy of these things, and a lot of them will give you the digital download, which is awesome. Thank you
yeah,
very much. But I would rather have the high quality Red Dawn
yeah,
and actually watch that off of a disc that I own, that is mine, that they can't take away
yeah. I
because that's just cool.
The pay for life, like everything you buy now, seems to have this theory of you have to now give us money for like you're entering into relationships with some of your purchases that are more difficult to manage than a divorce. Like
Yeah.
you're like what? I have to pay you this much for that. Well, I just gave you this money. Like what's coming back to me? And then like to have these services and then be like, "Hey, you also have to pay for a month, but if you want the top tier experience, you got to buy some in-game currency or something like that to keep it going." And it's just like, the hell is this? What is
The
this?
other th- the other thing that's really bad, and we're experiencing this at the office, is the software we use. Those guys, like, they're like, we're going to a subscription model, and it's like, okay, well, does that mean that you're going to give us higher quality product? And they're like, no, we're just going to charge you monthly. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to stay with what I got. And they're like, well, why don't you want to? And it's like, well, because we're on ArchiCAD 27, you're now on ArchiCAD 29, and the only difference between these last two versions that you've come out with is you've made some stuff that like a large firm, like 150 body firms, they might use it. But since the like 90% of all architecture firms are 7 people or less, none of that addresses what we actually need.
Yep.
And so it was just it was just one of those weird things. It's like, and so they're like, you don't want to give us $11,000 a year. I'm like, no, no, I don't. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
because I have a product that works. I own this product because once we actually get off of that license, we can never go back. We're stuck. We have to be on their little upgrade train for a product that arguably in 2 years hasn't had
Yep.
anything that's even worth upgrading to.
Yeah. Most of the stuff has not gotten any better. In
Yeah,
fact, it's
and it's
got
like if
worse.
you want to sell me something, and then if you want to sell me something and then a year later make something really cool to say, hey, you could come get this thing. You know, here's a Glock 17. A year later, say, hey, here's a Glock 17 MOS. Oh, that's a value upgrade right there. A year later, come out and say, hey, here's a Glock 17 MOS with a switch on it. Value proposition. I would consider this. You know,
Yep.
things that actually like are valuable to me, but like anymore, that's just not the way it is.
No, it's just the compulsion. It's just
Yeah.
to compel you, no matter what you do, to keep going. So
Yeah, it's nuts. It's you will own nothing and be happy. Well, I want to own things and be happy, so, thank you, but no.
yeah, and even people who vehemently disagree with this thing will still perform the same business practices.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because
Yeah,
they know that they know that I mean, accounting loves it.
yeah,
They think it's the greatest thing ever. Let's see, from Colby. What's a good plan for coming back to shooting after having a surgery? Should I take a break? Should take the break as a blessing, or shoot matches, strong hand only or weak hand only, just to keep shooting?
Like why? Like good, like almost like good money after bad, right? Like I don't think when you participate in a competition sport at 70% capacity, like you're taking resources and you're using them because you go like, "Oh, I'm shooting. I do shooting." And it's just like get healed up, come back and apply your resources correctly.
Right.
That's how I feel about it. Like if you just want to go out there and make noise with stuff, then go out there and make noise with stuff. But
Well, Nate Oxendale, he cut himself with a concrete saw, pretty bad, and so he's got his whole hand all taped up. And he came out and he shot his revolver open gun, strong hand only. I think it was strong hand only. I can't remember. It might be weak hand only for him, but he did it. And so, like on one hand, what you're saying, Tommy, actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, take the time, take some time off. But on the other hand, if you're just wanting to come out and just have a great time, and honestly, I think Nate is such a badass because he shows up with these weird guns, like he'll show up with a high point, and the whole goal is just to embarrass people with a high point or embarrass people with the one-handed revolver shooter.
yeah,
I think that's fun. And if you approach it from the perspective of I'm just gonna have some fun while I heal up, rock out with your bad self. Do whatever makes you happy. It's not a big deal. But if you're thinking you're going to be competitive, no, you got to sit on the injury reserve for a little bit and then PT your way back into it.
yeah, and it's just like, well, people are looking for a break or more motivation. Well,
Yeah,
don't use your resources and your motivation and just like continue to like push yourself into a position where like you're just getting closer to the burnout because like
right.
well, this is what I have to do. The scary thing is if you don't do it, the stuff that you might like or the stuff that your family might like because you're not doing that too. Like
Yep.
that's
That's the danger.
the danger is you'll see whatever else you're missing, so then you compel yourself to go out there and still shoot.
Hmm.
And when your kids are young, you constantly think they'll still be young. They'll still be young. Like there's this magical time where you're going to spend more time with them or whatever. And then you get an opportunity like this, and then you kind of think to yourself like, what if I just go shoot at half capacity and not be competitive and still spend the money? Um, and that way, like I'll still be doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing for some reason. And it's just like, no, like you've been given an opportunity, you've been given time where you don't have to do that anymore. It's kind of
Right.
like, we have a very vibrant shooting community, and so it's 20, it's 12 months a year, and two matches, and you can go shoot any weekend and have a match. And so, and like the weather's mild enough that that's possible, and so people do that. And then it's just like, well, what's the actual cost of participating at that level? And like when you're not competitive, the cost is actually significantly higher when you spend that time and resources to do it for basically no reason.
Well, I think that's the question you have to answer for yourself, right? I mean, are you doing something because you have to, or are you doing something because you want to? And in many aspects, those are two different answers, really.
Yeah,
Because if you're taking your Saturday and you're going to go shoot a match because like me as an example, I mean, this is the only thing I have. I don't do anything else.
yeah,
I just like to do this. Am I competitive? No, no. Any competitive value I ever had is long since gone, and I'm okay with that. But I love doing it, and it gets me out of the house. And fortunately, in our case, it only happens a couple times a month, and so I have the other Saturdays to go out and do other things with the family and whatnot, and that's great. But if you're in a place where you're like, you are having to make a choice between the things that are important and the things that are fun, um, important is always the key.
yeah. Well, it's
You
just
know,
like if you're deciding that, if you ever talked and had any conversation with a significant other or like your kids or with yourself that you're sacrificing X, Y, or Z to do this because this is going to lead to like, oh, I'm going to become a professional shooter, or this is going to help me with my career, or whatever it is that you're thinking about. If you said that you're making a sacrifice and they're making a sacrifice for this, and then something like this comes up, then you're just like, well, what am I sacrificing for? The thing is like the juice is not worth the squeeze of not being with your family, especially like if you're healthy and you want to be competitive and it's your one and only hobby and this is what you do. That's fine, everyone needs to do that. But like if you're doing 8 billion things and then you're going to like push yourself through this, like it's not worth it. It's not
No,
worth it.
this
There's a
this
lot
is
of
a
stuff.
mistress that does not give back.
There's nothing in here except for like some good times and some good memories with your friends and shooting and some successes. But like in the long run, like it's not worth it. Like when your kids are like 24, 25 years old and you're thinking about like what did we all do during 2015 on the weekends? And then you're just like, "Oh, I spent a lot of my time just out there turning, income into lead bullets,
Toys.
putting it into the berm or whatever, and I got this trophy or whatever, and I have this memory or whatever like that." And then you're just like, oh, what other memories do I have? It's like, oh, you didn't really have a whole lot of other ones because you spent 50 hours a week working. You spent Sunday getting ready for the rest of the week, and then, life flies by. So,
Yeah,
be,
but
it's
it's like we talked about like a couple weeks ago, dude. I mean, like everything in life is seasons.
yeah,
And that's really what I mean. Everything you do is all in seasons. And when your kids are at a place where they're kind of they're grown up, they're doing their own thing, you as a parent, as a father, you can go pursue your hobbies, but your ultimate goal in life is to raise your family to be honorable members of society. And
yeah,
in that world, that's where you are at that time.
yeah,
And that is an honorable place to be. As far as shooting, the thing I tell everybody, and we said it last week, shooting will always be here. The game is
yeah,
not going anywhere. USPSA is fantastic. It's always going to be here. You may not,
yeah,
because I see so many people come in and they get really excited and they're going to be the next Christian Seiler or Eric Raffel or whatever, and then they burn out because the same level of drive that gets you to want to be that will eventually top out.
yeah,
You'll hit the G, you'll hit the highest of wherever you can actually hit. And then that level of determination will cause you to go look for something else. And that's okay.
yeah.
That's
The
absolutely okay. Just don't give up your family in the process because they're going to be with you a lot longer than anything.
Well, the one thing is just like just think about the guns you bought like 6 or 7 years ago. Like think about the guns and the
Hmm.
ammunition you spent 6 or 7 years ago. And then I don't think there's any one of us who would sit there and go like, what if you use that money and you guys went on a nicer family vacation? Which one would you miss more? And then you're just like, man, I kind of made the wrong choice with buying, you know, some $1,500 pistol and spending 20,000, bunch of money on 25,000 rounds of ammunition and match fees. And then you're just like, well, what specific things do I remember that? And then you remember like your family vacation you took, and you're like, oh, I remember these specific things are what we did. And so like
Right.
there's always that time and that choice that doesn't come back. And so I'm not saying like don't shoot the sport or something like that. It's just like if you're given the opportunity, take the opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, push come to shove. I mean, everything you do in life. I mean, when it comes to shooting, it's like you're going to that well. You're going to the well of your family's tolerance and agreeability. And if you don't take time away from, dad's hobby or your hobby or whatever it is, eventually that well's going to go dry, and you owe it to your family and things like that to be there and be present. But at the same time, the sport's still going to be here, and
Yeah.
so unless you're Eric Raffel and you're getting a paycheck, hanging out with the kids at Disneyland is usually pretty darn fun.
Yeah. Yeah, take the winter off. You'll be fine. Is that it?
Uh, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, let's let that one go. It's a good one to end on.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and downloading and subscribing, and thanks for taking the time off after you get injured. And thank you for not putting out a subscription service for a good you could have sold a couple years ago, and people would just buy it. And then when you came out with a better one, you could just buy that. But that's not the way the world works anymore. Anyways, thanks for doing all that. For Robert Wyatt, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and soul as we depart into the open waters of the sea of life on a little tugboat we like to call a PARAcast.
Good night, everybody.